didn't not track it. They were right-wing grifters who were paying off Biden to keep this grift going. We are paying for it. Well, they made his fortune with Pfizer. That's another thing. Husky Mom says, what about Carrie Lake as VP? Yeah, I think that's probably a little too much. Too much. If you want someone like she, like a female Trump, I think you want like you want somebody who's like, I like the idea of a dream team ticket, but you also have to, win over some of the people in the middle. And I'm not sure who that, who best does that. Randy K says, well, as usual, been a great hour with you, beautiful people. But my meeting is calling me. See you all later. And Wendy, I saw that you gave us the link to the joke. So here it is. Reagan on kids selling kittens. Okay, let's listen to this one.
Did you hear the story about the kid who was outside the Democratic fundraiser selling kittens? When the people came out from the fundraiser, he was holding up the kittens and he was saying, buy a Democrat kitten. Well, a couple of weeks later, the Republicans held a fundraiser in the same place. And when they came out, there was the same kid with the kittens. And he said, buy a Republican kitten. And one of the members of the press had seen him there 2 weeks before. He said, wait a minute, he was selling these kittens the last time with Democrat kittens. How come the Republican kittens now? He said, because now they got their eyes open.
Well done, Ronald. Well done, Ronald. Pretty funny stuff. So amazing from him. They opened their eyes. Hilarious.
So something we were watching yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it was Russell Brand, whatever he was saying in the background, got me a strike on this channel, or a warning. So I had to take medical misinformation training this morning to be able to go live.
Yeah, she went there on 6. Amazing. So I know Tishy was there too. So I got Canicle of the Great looked up Tishy. So look, Tishy's there, and I got that already pulled up for the show. So we'll have that one. Rocky, thanks for that. What's up, Knox? Happy Thursday.
No, he was getting pretty deep into the vax.
What his donors tell him to do.
So it wasn't my main channel, it was this one. So it was while I was driving.
Man, if they attempted that would feel like such a backstab, wouldn't it? But I don't think it would be enough to push it over the limit anyways. I really want to nice try. Says Alex is Dutch. In the 80s, she overstayed her student visa. Her dad passed away. He had married, had 3 sons. He had applied for parole to visit.
It's not like I even played it. It was just the audio of it in the background.
3 kids were allowed to enter legally. Legally. I'm glad you're here, Crash. Thanks for the story. Yeah, look, I'm all in favor of people coming legally, as long as they understand the Constitution, as long as they can, be a part of the melting pot that the country's supposed to be. But if they want to come here and
It was 7 questions, but I had to get them all right.
So things like
the Constitution. And it's not like I agree with some of the answers, but I know what the proper answer is.
Just thinking. Well, certainly would be better. I mean, if you need to process.
It was about the
bogus asylum claims. I'd be more okay with that.
The C word.
Trump could come in and,
the turbo C word.
No, they're not. This is obviously asylum. Yeah, that would be better than us thinking the American citizens getting created by the others. Thank you, Randy, for the link. This is from Rand Paul.
Dude, you're out in the fucking middle of the road.
Was this a
I'm not gonna fucking pull in front of you.
Is that real? Did he actually do that? Or is that just AI? Either way, it's a fun picture. I thought I saw something about that like it was AI. But John says, sorry I'm late, Rob. I'm not mature for today's challenge. Okay, so the Lodge challenge today, I got it, John. I didn't get it first. But the Watcher Lodge challenge is to love yourself today. And you know, not like that, okay, John, not like that. It's for loving yourself. There's this book that we talked about yesterday, actually. I think here was the book about Naval Ravikant. And so this is the post that we posted on the Lodge. And actually, if you're not doing the fitness challenge, but you want to still, we talked about the mirror meditation yesterday, looking into the mirror and saying, I love myself as a meditation. I posted the actual instructions on the meditation. So here, I went into the book. The book is Love Yourself, Alcoholic Depends on It. And so here you can say mirror, the mirror exercise, 5 instructions. And so you can go and check that out. So there's your instructions. Okay, so KB says we got some more super chats. Thank you, KB.
Yeah, it was after he switched over.
What's up? We got Cowboy Rob says Trump president, Tucker VP, Donald's chief of staff, Wesley Hunt secretary of defense, Kash Patel AG, Tulsi secretary of state, Alex Jones press secretary. Alex Jones for press secretary? I love that. The press would ask me the question. I have the documents right here. Pull them out. You disgusting pervert, pedophiles, whatever. It'd be amazing. So Cowboy Rob, that'd be so fun. What a great illustration. Tara Rayner says, check out VI of Black MAGA. It won't be close. Trump has a hidden breakout that is going to destroy any chance of fraud. This is my prediction. I've seen a lot of that too, Tara. I've seen a lot of that. That the African American demographic is not polling where the Democrats want it to be polled. We want it historically to be. So thank you for those Cowboy Rock. Voice, good to see you. Higgins for FBI director. That would be fun. And man, I could put together the dream team. Hey, what's up, Fred? Fred Clayton's here. Thank you, Fred. Says you are rare, a lawyer we trust. There are really good lawyers out there. You know, Knox is here, another one. And I think there are a lot of other bad lawyers too.
Oh, fuck.
It's just like any profession, just like any industry. You're going to have your spectrum of competency, your spectrum of integrity, your spectrum of intelligence. You're trying to find someone on the upper end of all of that spectrum. Thank you for saying that, Fred. I try to be trustworthy. So I appreciate that. Beaver's here says apparently a bomb squad was at Angeron's house. Who are they going to blame? Probably Trump. Because they have evidence Trump filmed that in this morning. I clicked that this morning as well, so we'll have that. Hey, Glock can share this one. You want lies with that? No. You're going to get them. Pull around to the corner. Pull around to the front. See you around. And since Joe Biden's in charge, it's going to be $35. See you around. Thanks for shopping at Lies. We got Glocky's another one. All right, we got Chris Christie. What is he doing on the Oscar Mayer Wiener card? He literally just left the campaign. Chris, you just exited, man. Can't you just take a day off? Why are you driving around, literally, on the Oscar Mayer Wiener card? Take some time off. Here, this one, A. Glocky says this, Marjorie Taylor Greene submitted a criminal referral against Fannie. I got that one queued up for the show as well. So we're going to get into that one. It's a short, pretty short. What's up, 66 Anton says good morning. Thank you for saying that, 66. Good morning to you. It is a beautiful day. Yeah, inflation creeped up. It did creep up. So is the Fed going to cut? Or what are they going to do? We don't know. Yeah, that's what I want from Alex Jones. We get a question from the New York Times. Yeah, why is Trump such a racist? Ah! That's crap. You know he's not a racist. I'd love to see it. 20,000 lawyers under the sea is a good start, but Rob will not be one of them. Reading up here. Thank you, Jeremy, for keeping me afloat. I appreciate it. And all right, my friends, we'll do one final refresh and then we'll wrap it up. Hey, JC says, hey, speaking of loving yourself, I watched your response to my comment and you hit the nail on the head, my brother. Your life is tough. It is easy to be hard on yourself. You're right. You're right, Jeremy. You're right about that. I'm glad you saw the comment, and I'm glad you're here with us here today, my man. We're in it together, and things are going to progress. No doubt about it. I think we're going to be on that. We're going to come out okay. Let's see what else. Tara says this: new organization. Check out this clip. New organization. Check out his clip. Re the previous special concert. Okay, so check out Black MAGA. Okay, so you're saying it's a new organization, and check out his clip about the previous special concert. Okay, cool. So I'll look into that and see if there's something I can incorporate in the show. Hey, this old guy just joined us. 54 minutes late. We're wrapping up. This old guy, thanks for late fees. Thanks for being here, this old guy. We're just about to wrap up, but the feed will process, and then hopefully we can do the recap on the house. But thank you, this old guy. Thanks for squeezing in here and saying hello as we wrap it up. But my friends, it's going to be a good show today. We've got Donald Trump closing arguments in Letitia James's New York civil fraud prosecution, so that should be fun. We've got a Fani Willis update. There's more stories that she actually met with the January 6th committee, specifically, like they were guiding her before the prosecution started. We got Marjorie Taylor Greene's clip. We got some Hunter fallout stuff. I mean, we've got he was at the airport flying home in a weird situation. So there's going to be some fun to get to. It's a beautiful Thursday, my friends. Tomorrow's going to be Friday, and so I hope your week is going just incredibly well. You're accomplishing everything. You're feeling like you've got some good energy, feeling settled, ready to go. We're going to have a great day, and we're going to come back in a few short hours again to get into it. So until then, my friends, it's a beautiful Thursday. Get out there, get after it, make it a great day. See you there, back here soon. Bye-bye.
So yeah, apparently, I don't know. On the Rumble half of his side of his show, I don't care. I'm gonna play him again today, but I just thought it was funny. We had snow on the ground this morning, but it's already melted. Nice little blanket of snow this morning. What are we gonna put on?
Years clean and sober one day and five days day, love it, God. But I never had types of crack. Oh, like a concept. That's a pleasant vintage. Like it's not Breaking Bad. There's like a sort of a blue one or whatever. if you can keep them distracted long enough with Hunter Biden, at least it stops them dabbling in the stock exchange, you know, like, oh my God, we should be selling more weapons, there's going to be another war. I got a hunch. I call it my Pelosi senses are tingling. There's going to be another war any minute now. Bet on Raytheon, bet on Raytheon, bet on Raytheon. And yet, for ordinary people, justice remains draconian. We all saw that guy jumping across the judge's bench, and it was pretty intense, wasn't it? So we got Hunter Biden storming in and out of court. We got that other guy leaping over. I think it's it's a bad thing that he did that. I'm not endorsing it, of course. But as far as launches go, he can get his whole body right over that thing. He got air, didn't he? He got air, is what I will say. Let's have a look at how the legacy media are covering that story.
Made headlines for attacking a judge just as she was about to pronounce sentence. And today was
jump. Like, if we're just going to judge it on the quality of the jump, like, let's not look at, like, I mean, that would, if someone had raised that point there and then, it might have been deemed inappropriate. I'd like to say that the defendant is brilliant. If there's a basketball team in that prison, that guy is going to go to the top. But after, like, he's got to be tried again. You know, like, that when you mess with the system, anyone that's ever messed with the police or anything, and I've got respect for people that are in service, you know me. But, like, this guy's going to he's going to have a tough time next time around, right?
back in court. And this time, security was on high alert.
High alert. Oh, man, look at this.
They're taking... Is this...
I don't feel good about that thing that's on his head. He's really wrapped up. Look at what's around his waist and everything. Like, it's proper Hannibal Lecter style.
time, the out-of-control...
Sephrodine Squibb in the Rumble chat. That was a great jump. If you're watching us in YouTube, we're going to be there for another 10 minutes. Remember, if you want to become an Awakened Wonder and support our content, we do additional content for those of you that are in our Awakened Wonder community. Cheers.
Defendant who leaped over the bench to attack a judge was back in court today. A spit hood covering his head. His
Bit hood. I don't know that should be in the American language.
hands in shackles with special coverings.
Well, that's called a spit hood. We've got a word for that. And these are just special coverings. I'm afraid we're going to have to apply the special coverings. Like gloves. There's sort of a word for that already. Spit hood. They went through the trouble of inventing that.
At least 8 court officers stood at the ready if he tried anything. He also faced this judge he attacked when he made that flying tackle over the bench last Wednesday.
I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week.
Like this actually. She's saying, look, before this is good. I would call this artful understatement from Judge Mary Kay Holtis. Before I was interrupted, she's about to say, before I was interrupted by the defendant's actions.
Before I was interrupted by defendant's actions.
Judge Mary Kay Holtis sentenced Deopra Redden today to a minimum 19 months in prison for attempted battery.
Have a look at the sort of number of things. There's one to do with like excrement at the end of it. It's like some, what was that?
Mr. Redden, have you been given a copy of the criminal complaint this morning? You're being charged with count 1, attempt murder, victim 60 years of age or older, a felony. Count 2, battery on a protected person resulting in substantial bodily harm, victim 60 years of age or older, a felony. Count 3, extortion by a felony. Count 4, intimidating a public officer, a felony. Count 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all battery on an officer, the same name victim. Oh, and by the way, I do not know any of the other victims named in the criminal complaint. Those are all felony offenses. Count 10, performance of act or neglect of duty in willful or wanton disregard of safety or person's property resulting in substantial bodily harm or death, a felony. Battery on a protected person.
I call it like felony in the Rumble chat, calling it felony bingo.
Count 11, that's a gross misdemeanor offense. Count 12, battered by a prisoner, a felony. Count 13, unlawful act related to human excrement or bodily fluid, a felony.
Unlawful act, bodily fluid, and excrement.
All allegedly occurring on January 3rd of 2024. You understand these charges?
January 3rd. Still not as bad as January 6th, though. Hey, out about the GOP debate. Did you watch it? Y or N? Let me know in the Rumble chat if you watched that last night. It's DeSantis versus Nikki Haley. Do you think that either of them has a chance to be the next president of the United States? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat, because as usual, Donald Trump was doing his own alternative event. No, you didn't watch it, and I don't think you believe that
either of those people are going to be your next president over there. Although, what we'll say is that we are living in a post-Trump world now. Not a post-Trump world, because Trump's still going strong, let's face it. But in a world where, look, I do think that this conversation would have been like this prior to Trump's primary successes in 2016 and subsequently, where people are like, I don't know, it's like slam poetry, like people are going at each other like 8 Mile now. Check out this.
A tale of two stages in Iowa, which is 5 days until the first votes are cast in the GOP presidential contest. Former President skipping a debate again and opting for a town hall in front of a crowd of supporters. That left Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley one-on-one, and they came out swinging.
Every time he lies, Drake University, don't turn this into a drinking game because you will be overserved by the end of the night.
Or take that. Every time you watch TikTok, you get 45% more racist.
I debated the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. I thought he lied a lot. Nikki Haley may give him a run for his money, and she may even be more liberal than Gavin Newsom is.
Both candidates fight.
When we used to watch Jerry Springer, like 20 years ago now, maybe, Jerry Springer, it was like in our country, the UK, when it was like, what is going on in America? They quickly emulated it with a spate of our own type of shows. Now, it's like everything. Oh, Hunter Biden showing up at Congress. Oh, defendants are jumping over the benches. Rod said, well, I spoke to Gavin Newsom. Hey, don't play a drinking game. Look, I don't believe that the political class are in any way serious. And I believe that the reason I am anti-establishment, anti-elite, is because I don't think that there is a superior strata of individuals that are better than you that should be in charge, like an aristocracy. Oh, they should be in charge. They went to different universities. They know stuff we don't know. And now that you see them talk this way in an attempt to be appealing and affable, amenable and accessible, as culture becomes more determined by populism, entertainment values, accessibility and affability, it becomes obvious that, hang on a minute, these people are like, look, it's not inconceivable that if you're president of the United States, you go, oh, come on, can you help me get my kid a job? Look, my lad, he's having a bit of trouble with the crack and the porn and stuff. Is there a place for him at your Ukrainian gas fracking company? Okay, well, look, we'll put him on salary. It's not inconceivable, is it? But what it shows you is that the office itself needs to change. Unless you do have a class or caliber of individuals that are genuinely operating from a different integrity, from a place of true spirituality, whether you see that as Christian values or spirituality of a different kind, then I was used to run around with Katy Perry, thinks he's a normal guy. But when did you think I was grown in a pod? Do you think I was grown in a pod? Do you think I was dropped out of Hollywood? Have a little look of where I was before that stuff, And this is essentially what I'm saying to you. There is not an elite class, so you shouldn't be taxed as if there is. You shouldn't have to live as if there is. There isn't. Decentralized power. Decentralized power. Bring power as close to the people affected by it as possible. Run your own life. Run your own community. Individual and community freedom. You won't get that from, well, certainly not from either of those two.
Aiming for second place and pitching themselves as the best alternative to Mr. Trump. Haley recently closed the gap to single digits in a New Hampshire poll. Hours before the Iowa events, Chris Christie dropped out and was caught on a hot mic saying Haley was going to get smoked, something Trump latched onto.
They happen to say that she doesn't have what it takes. She'll be creamed in the election. And I know her very well, and I happen to believe that Chris Christie is right. That's one of the few things he's been right about.
Christie has been urging the other candidates to take Mr. Trump on directly. Instead, Haley and DeSantis focused their attacks on each other and were careful when they name checked the frontrunner.
If Trump is the nominee, it's going to be about January 6th, legal issues, criminal trials. Democrats and the media would love to run with that. I'm not running for my issues.
I don't think so.
What has President Trump done? You look at the last years, and our country is completely divided. We don't need this chaos anymore. We need someone who's going to be a new generational leader that brings sanity back to America.
Both agreed Mr. Trump should be on the debate stage.
Which one of them is the establishment choice? Think DeSantis, Christie, both.
A few miles away, the former president took questions from the crowd, teased he knew who his vice president pick would be, and responded to concerns second term would be focused on looking back.
All of these different hoaxes that they did, a lot of people would say that's probably quite normal. I'm not going to have time for retribution. We're going to make this country so successful again. I'm not going to have time for retribution.
time for retribution in a Trump 2024 campaign. He indicated that he'd already chosen a VP. We asked you who you thought that would be, and let's have a look at the results of that now. Vivek, about 4%, said, yeah, maybe Nikki Haley, right, to appease people to bring it together. Chris Christie, 17% of you jokers went with Hunter Biden. Just like, he'd be in and out of that administration, turn up for a bit, watch for a bit, I'm out again. If you're watching us on YouTube, we'll be with you for a few more minutes, then we'll be striding into the stream of freedom that is Rumble.
She's doing good. She's working from the house today.
Because we believe in anti-establishment, anti-globalism, decentralized but unified true opposition to media, to the corporate state, to the true
she was in Cleveland yesterday.
Fascism that abides. But this is pretty funny. Watch Chris Christie, all hangdog, dropping out of the race. And pay particular attention to the people in the background. They don't like. No one cares, I don't think, about whether Chris Christie's in this race. Even Chris Christie don't see that problem.
I've always said that if there came a point in time.
Particular attention to the three women directly behind him on the lower tier. I don't even think they know they've left the house.
In this race where I couldn't see a path to accomplishing that goal, that I would get out. And it's clear to me tonight that there isn't a.
It was like Jeff Garlin in Curb Your Enthusiasm, like Larry David's making it.
For me to win the nomination, which is why I'm suspending my campaign tonight for President of the United States.
I think watch this, the woman on the bottom row there involuntarily shrugs her shoulders. The universal gesture of I don't care. Check it out.
For President of the United States. I know.
Oh what? I don't even care, and I'm your mom, and I don't care, Chris.
I can see it from some of the faces here. Now I'm disappointing some people by doing this.
I'm kind of disappointed because they're bored out of their minds. It's one of the situations where you got to let that fentanyl get across the border just to cheer people up. Right, well, there you go. So a lot of this is this because of the hot mic situation, or is it because he's had a reality check? In any event, this is Chris Christie's hot mic situation where he sort of said Nikki Haley has got, no chance, didn't get steamed or creamed or some such thing. What's interesting about it is they've left the music up as well for that sort of hold page, or some sort of hold page, and it's this sort of interesting. As Chris Christie says, there's no music, there's no voting for her. She's mostly promoting my page.
She spent 68 million so far, just on TV. Spent 68 million so far, 59 million by DeSantis, and we spent 12. And who's punching above their weight, and who's getting a turn on their investment, and she's going to get smoked. And you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
That music, I'm Chris Christie, and I approve this message.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's going to carry on.
Yes. Oh, I talked to DeSantis called me, petrified that I would be like.
See, there's another reason why you can't have a distinctly separate class of people that are the establishment, symbols, connections, true democracy, as opposed to your individual freedom and your community as possible. So try something radical and different. Is Vivek radical and different? Certainly his take on Trump versus Haley is interesting. Certainly he says that he knows the way it's going to go. He says that the establishment will back Nikki Haley with Ron DeSantis as VP. Do you not think that's the way it's going to go? Right or in? Let's have a look at Vivek's prediction.
The system wants to narrow this down to a two-horse race between Donald Trump and a puppet who they can control. And it has become increasingly clear that puppet is not a Democrat, it's not even Gavin Newsom, it's Nikki Haley. It's in our own party. Well, today, one more step in that plot unfolds. Chris Christie drops out. Next step, I'm going to make a prediction. You're actually going to see Ron DeSantis join Nikki Haley's ticket. He's going to be her VP. The whole game, it's hiding in plain sight. Whatever it takes, and the system will stop at nothing. And I mean nothing. To eliminate Donald Trump from contention. It's nothing. Disgusting. But the same people who have said they're not going to actually take a principled stand against Trump's removal from the ballot. Haley and DeSantis are both in that category. Do the math, people. That's next up. Ron DeSantis is after Iowa. Everybody, including Chris Christie, apparently got a phone call from Ron DeSantis. Panicked was the word that Chris Christie used. This is the way
We should do. I wouldn't trust Vivek's hair.
the plot's going. Ron may not know this. Ron DeSantis may not know this. But that's what his donors are going to make him do. That's what's coming next. Ron DeSantis will become Nikki's VP. Whether or not Ron knows it, it's not really his choice. He's not the one in charge of that decision. And then the plot continues. We have
Never forget, Chris Christie kicked everyone off the beach. He said we could have a private holiday, said someone who made a $5 donation. Thanks for that. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're going to be there just for a moment. In fact, start the 30 seconds off. Start the 30 seconds. We're going to be leaving. And in a minute, we're going to be talking about January 6th versus congressional stock trading. What's fascinating about this story is the anti-Jan 6 movement is predicated on the idea that there's something within those institutions and systems worth preserving. Well, primarily what we're offering you is that they are bastions of corruption, institutional corruption.
Talking about.
This is due to some new unusual Wales reporting. You're going to want to join us to get these answers. Plus, we've got some fantastic new stuff on COVID. Join us on the other side. Those of you that are watching us on Rumble, have you considered becoming a member of our Awakened Wonder community? You get access to an extra report per week. For example, this week I did a take on the Golden Globes. My take as a former insider on that ceremony. We'll show you the clip of that later. Let's have a look at Donald Trump talking about the choosing a VP. In fact, saying that he's already chosen the VP. That's what inspired our poll, in which the vast majority of you want Vivek. Let's have a look.
Who would be in the running for vice president?
Well, I can't tell you that really. I mean, I know who it's going to be. Give us a hint. I'll give you another show sometime.
Well, what about any of the people who you run against? Would you be open to mending fences with any of them?
I would. I've already started to like Christie better.
Nice. Good joke. Okay, listen. We've been telling you that we've done an excellent little piece on not only January 6th and the way they utilised the mobilizer to create disparity and legitimise passing the laws, but significantly, what's going on in the capital? You will love this story. One or two representatives in a little tiny bipartisan, what do I want to say, coalition trying to investigate and oppose the practice of people in Congress investing in stocks and shares from companies they meant to regulate. Do you know that if you and I were just to start investing in the same stocks and shares as Nancy Pelosi, if
Where you going there, bud?
together, we'd be rich. Rich, I tell you, in no time at all. We would also be able to collapse her model. Have a look at this.
What's your
Happening in the institutions of Washington sacred or simply corrupt. Stay with us, we'll be back after this. Here's the news. No, here's the effing news.
Here's the news.
The January 6th insurrection is an event so egregious that it brings grown news readers to tears. Why? Because that Capitol building is a sacred space. But if it is so sacred and full of such power and honor, how come Congress people are way ahead of the market when it comes to investing in stocks and shares? Could they be exploiting their position in order to get ahead of the market? And if that's true, isn't the whole system corrupt? And if that's true, why are we so outraged anyway? Oh God, this is so emotional. You're all aware that the January 6th protests have been utilised to introduce new laws and create all sorts of exploitation, demonise half of the American population, and create many anti-democratic measures in the name of democracy, sometimes reducing readers to tears simply discussing it. On January 6th, it was so terrible. Do you remember when they stayed within the velvet ropes? Do you remember that man had a buffalo hat on? Oh, it's all too terrible. Now, I believe in peace. I believe in treating one another with love and respect at all times, and any revolution that we undertake must be a peaceful and respectful one. But nevertheless, I think this incident has been exploited, particularly by a political class that uses the information they gain within Congress and the Senate to create opportunities for themselves and their families. We've got a report on that. It's disgusting, as well as more hypocrisy from within the establishment as they continue to exploit January the 6th to demonise half the population and control media narratives.
For now, I'm going to try to get through this. Thank you.
So I'm going to try and get through the rest of this video. It's just so terrible. It's they had signs, man. Some of them like Donald Trump. I saw a cap. It was red. I think it was red.
For what you did 3 years ago to me.
For marvelous clip in a way, but also demonstrates how
Michigan.
emotional and hysterical the coverage of that event has become. It's become a cultural artifact deployed in order to generate emotion, in the sense that newsreader is simply playing his part, doing what's required of him. That's not a rational perspective, and yet rationalism is always what's used to decry and criticise the supporters of what are known as MAGA right. If rationalism...
Gonna drop off a pay card at the factory on the way
and
there.
this goes way beyond lachrymose newsreaders. DC attorney Matthew Graves is saying that not only...
It's actually the building that most of the people I hire from this office up here work.
January 6th,
They don't actually work in the building that the office is in. That's just a mixed plant.
What do I call the day before January 7th?
Texted a guy yesterday, told him to come by and get it after he got off, but he never came by. So.
We just have a leap year. What are you leaping over? A trucker protest in Canada? Oh God, I promised myself to finish this video.
Biggie.
An important note when it comes to our prosecutions about those who remained outside the building. We have used our prosecutorial discretion to primarily focus on those who entered the building or those who engaged in violent or corrupt conduct on Capitol grounds.
Like this piece of violent conduct pointed out by Norm MacDonald to Douglas Bissell, there's clearly a degree of hysteria, and usually don't be fine. But when there's this much emotive packaging, this much amplification, it's in order to utilise either some new legislation or to promote a particular aspect of an electoral campaign, or really to legitimise democracy itself. Because when you look at it really, and this is the first thing that occurred to me, I'm trying to act like such radio station. Straight away I thought, why are you so outraged that that building has been impeached, when for me that building is itself a symbol of corruption? I don't see that as that's Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. All I know is the state is corrupt, you cannot trust the media. That's all I've ever known. So for me, I don't see that, oh my God, and start sobbing, because I see the state not as my representatives, but as our shared oppressors. And whether you're right there on the BLM side of things, or over here, the Jan 6 Trump side of things, you've got more in common with one another than you have of the occupants of those buildings who are using information gleaned from their privileged position within the political establishment to make bets on the stock market, enrich themselves, and create a bigger gap than ever between them and you. And you all exist in one vast herd, and they might appeal to your political beliefs if you're on this side or that side of the basically imagined dial, but when it comes to the crunch, they're all in it together, investing in stocks and shares, accruing personal wealth, and ultimately concealing the true source of power, which is ulterior, way down deep in the deep state, or way up high in rarefied corporate air inaccessible to us anonymous figures who aren't bold or ridiculous present themselves as powerful, in my opinion. Let me know in the chat, in the comments, if that's how you think it goes.
But if a person knowingly entered the restricted area without authorization, they had already committed a federal crime. Make no mistake, thousands of people occupying the area that they were not authorized to be present in the first place.
Trespass, that's the crime we're discussing. So what's the worst crime? Trespass, or using your privileged position as a member of Congress to plainly invest in stocks and shares that you have information about that you can use to enrich yourself, while all the time acting as if some terrible transgression took place on January 6th. It's like the old adage, what's the crime of robbing a bank to the crime of another bank being opened? Well, it'd be brilliant if someone opened a bank near you, I bet, because you can't get no banks or doctors or anything, because infrastructure is cutting everywhere, because all of the resources, power, and wealth are being sucked upwards. You're watching it happen, we're all watching it happen, they're participating in it, legitimising it, and then saying that the problem is each other. It's got to get now, let's investigate just exactly how people in Congress are benefiting from these ludicrous, outrageous investments. The US Congress once again outperformed the stock market in 2023, according to new analysis by financial platform Unusual Whales. That in itself is a demonstration of corruption, because the stock market is naturally the habitat of experts in global finance. When we think about that world, people that are on Wall Street or the City of London or wherever else these bizarre practices take place, they're spending all their time studying the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones. They're studying that stuff all the time. And yet, these people in Congress that might be on some education committee or tech committee, more notably, are outperforming them. How's that? In a rare display of bipartisanship, members from both sides of the political aisle had bumper years. It is the third year running that Congress has now beat the market. So this is a trend. One thing you can bet on is that Congress will beat the market. You can start investing in that. In fact, you do. You pay them with your The annual report shows that Congress blew the market out of the water in 2023. It's not only the market they're blowing, some of the rumours are true, they're blowing each other in that place. Saucy, fueling fresh calls for a ban targeting US lawmakers and their immediate family members. 32 members of Congress, evenly split among Democrats and Republicans, fared better than the market. Overall, Democratic lawmakers were up 31.18% last year, while their GOP colleagues were up 17.99%. Numerous members in Congress traded war stocks before the Israel-Gaza-Palestine conflict, unusual whale trade. So, whether or not you're seeing pro-Israel politicians or pro-Palestinian politicians espousing publicly, one thing where they agree is it's okay to invest in weapons manufacturers prior to that conflict. Don't you think that the money where the mouth is, evidence there, tells you a lot more than the empty rhetoric that they may use on the steps of one of those sacred buildings that if you invade them without a ticket or without a people are literally sobbing on the news. Let's have a look at how ABC News report on this.
As long as a trade is reported before 45 days, there's no law preventing members of the House or Senate from trading stocks, even if the bills they pass or committees they sit on could influence a company's stock price.
Almost as if people try to occasionally introduce laws to prevent that. Whenever those laws are introduced, people that are in charge of voting for whether or not those laws should stick go, hold on a minute, I personally financially benefit from there not being any regulation against me doing this or engaging in these practices, so I'm not going to do that. And isn't that the sense you get from politics across the world? Those of you in the UK watching this post office scandal unfold will realise that this is something that happened ages ago. That one political parties are pretending to care because it's been on the television. There are very few moral scruples within these institutions because these institutions require that you abdicate those principles. That's why it takes a long while to create change. Well, generations. It doesn't need to take generations. You can just like that and change the world. But it will be beneficial. The institutions benefiting from things being
Outraged at first, Chris then saw an opportunity to get in on the action. He moved out west and with 3 friends launched an app, Autopilot. It lets users follow a politician's trades and then copy them.
So that is amazing. If you just did that, you would be ahead of the market. Is there any clear indication of corruption? Like if you simply do what people in Congress are doing, you will make money. That, in a sense, means you have to kind of collapse the whole system. What's the point in the stock market? What's the point in consultants? What's the point in traders and stock market and all of these experts just go, what are them not? Right, well, the evidence doesn't show you the degree of institutionalized corruption.
Automatically buying or selling the same stock a lawmaker does at whatever dollar amount they put.
At what point does this become illegal?
The company now has users dedicating tens of millions trying to grow their own bank accounts by mimicking lawmakers' market moves. But the app has also become a rallying cry for a new generation of investors, pointing out what they say is a rigged system that lets a group of 535 men and women with serious political influence buy and sell stocks in the first place.
Now, we can't continue to bring you this groundbreaking content without the support of our partners, particularly when they're bringing you a product that might literally change your life. Of course, it's 2024. It's a new year. You've made resolutions at a time when we need revolutions, and mine was an easy one. I revolutionized my sleep. How did I do that? Because if you're not sleeping well, you ain't going to change the world. The number one mineral for improving sleep is the thing that you need to start ingesting, and I've been doing it, and it's helping me on so many levels that I'm at a linguistic impasse when it comes to describing it. Talking about the intervention of magnesium. Specifically, I'm talking about magnesium breakthrough by Bioptimizers. The 7 different forms of magnesium in this supplement are involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. Pretty much every function in your body gets upgraded when you take magnesium, from the quality of your sleep to your brain functions, from metabolism to stress levels. And let's face it, even if your 2024 resolution isn't to focus on health, mine is, I don't know what yours is, I'm talking about revolutions as well as resolutions. How are you going to be able to achieve all your goals without good quality, blissful sleep and stress management support? So do yourself a sweet kindness and make magnesium breakthrough part of your daily routine this year so you can get the vitality you need to conquer your dreams. Go to www.bioptimizers.com/brand now and enter promo code brand to get 10% off any order. Join me in this magnesium revolution in 2024. Again, that's buyoptimizers.com/brand for that discount. Okay, let's get into changing the world together.
Legally, lawmakers can't trade on inside information, meaning details out of the hands of the general public. But a hypothetical senator could vote for an infrastructure bill and then buy stock in a company that was publicly awarded a project to build a bridge in their district.
Those men like building a road, like I can't. It's just like the toil of asphalting a road in galoshes, just shoveling down. Meanwhile, we could be exploiting that for profit. There's so much scope for radical change.
They could even sit on the Armed Services Committee and trade in the stock of a defense contractor receiving a sizable government contract.
How dare you? How dare you invade the Capitol building? That is where we inspire and organize illegal wars that are armed by companies that I personally invested in. You were actually in the building. You're going to prison. You were in the environment. You're going to prison. You used the term J6, and that's when my son was born. You are a criminal, sir. Now, I'm just going to invest in jails filling up.
Potential conflicts of interest that in the past few years, thousands online began relishing pointing out were all legal.
This is a red flag.
And the biggest name doing that isn't a name at all. A finance guy who started poring over members of Congress's trades when he was bored during the early months of the pandemic.
He was just bored. He started doing it out of boredom. So that pandemic, it created so much change, didn't it? It created such a fissure in society, people being locked in their homes, so much doubt in our institutions, such a total lack of trust in media, such a lack of trust in Big Pharma. And this guy,
he goes by the full moniker Unusual Wales. Wales's data finds members of Congress's stock portfolios consistently beat the S&P 500.
Cool, Banksy style. He's going anonymous. Respect.
One example Wales pointed us to was the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and the regional banking crisis. Then, some lawmakers on key congressional committees that govern the financial system dumped SVB and other bank stocks during the turmoil, many before their price plummeted. Not illegal, Wales says, but eyebrow-raising.
I have to raise an eyebrow for that. Knowing what you know about the ethics and morality of the occupants of those buildings, do you think it's possible that it would cross their mind, for example, when voting on whether to continue to aid conflict between Ukraine and Russia?
Damn it.
Well, that might be beneficial, or whether to invest in, as they said, in infrastructure, which doesn't seem to be happening a hell of a lot. Or
I was going to go by the
big tech or a water contract
factory first.
or Facebook.
I got to make a detour to my
This is
detour.
about getting into lobbying or donations. But actually, it's not hyperbole to say the system is totally corrupt. It almost requires a level of faith from us that seems childlike, ridiculous, unsustainable levels of credulity are required for us not actually, thinking about it, wait till about January 6th, walk in there and go, listen, this is mental, this is mad. That's why they have to frame that as the extreme event. What's being normalised? Well, look, there is a loophole that doesn't prevent. If it's for family members, well, no, of course you can sit on that committee. The masquerade and the sophistry that's utilised in order to maintain a system that's so plainly corrupt. Whenever someone comes along that's half-decent, Ross Perot, Bobby Kennedy, Cornel West, Marianne Williamson, they're just maligned and marginalised. People are breathed into the system, sort of bathed in the formaldehyde of corruption and become inutile and hopeless. Remember in the 60s when people rose up that plainly had principles, Malcolm X, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King. What happened to those guys? Oh, they all died in mysterious circumstances when a lone gunman shot them. Some crackpot. Oh no, another crackpot. There's some weird kind of blind date magic takes place between idealistic political figures and lone crackpots. As soon as you're like an ideal public orator, it's just a matter of time for a lone crackpot emerges to kill you. I'm actually feeling quite what the hell's that? What's in your pocket, sir? Okay, I'll start investing. Get me some shares in Northrop Grumman. Get me shares in Northrop Grumman.
And those new calls for transparency have spurred some in Congress to try again to ban their colleagues from trading stocks altogether. Republican Ken Buck and Democrat Joe Neguse. who signed a letter with 19 other Republicans and Democrats.
The whole point of Congress is it's representative democracy. Every single person in that building ran like campaigns. I approve this message. That's why I'm here. Like pictures of them like construction hats or holding a pig or being nice to a baby or something. And out of all of them, we got 19. I was like, listen, we're going to do this thing. We unscrupulously profiteer. Well, I'm a little busy that day. That's like all they can summons up, 19 people. So on one hand, you've got the facade of outrage about January 6th. Oh, what did you do? They did what? They were wearing what? Oh, this is disgusting. They were going to do what to Nancy Pelosi? Good luck finding Nancy Pelosi. She's rich. How did she get so rich? Well, interesting story.
You know, we signed up for this job. We knew what the pay was. It isn't a, we're going to pay you this much plus corruption.
It's good, isn't it, to be reminded that there are some decent people in politics. I need to be reminded of that myself because I get carried away and just think they're all so corrupt. I just go straight.
19 out of 535.
They're all corrupt. Like, but then him, you sort of see he's like a kindly person who's like really sort of trying his best to hold together his integrity, like some Jimmy Stewart character, all sort of constipated against the oh, come on, we can't do a good job, can we all?
Corruption is what Congress first tried to tackle 10 years ago.
Did it though? Did it? I'll give a round of applause. And here is a bill that we will ignore and find a way out of by the time that it matters to me. Hooray!
Passing the Stock Act. That was the law that officially banned members of Congress from trading with non-public information.
When they do what you like, they do it in public to rounds of applause. And when they reverse out of it, it turns out there was a terrorist attack on the day that we nixed that deal.
But there are still
that think that they shouldn't be able to trade at all while they're in office.
Exactly that. Have you both become aware of colleagues of yours that are bending the rules with their trades?
Look, I'm going to keep this bipartisan. I am not going to go into some names. We both know the names of some people that have made millions of dollars off of trading, spouses trading stocks.
Nancy Pelosi.
While committee hearings are going on.
Look, I'm not going to name Nancy Pelosi's, but I do know of colleagues that have Nancy Pelosi, their Paul Pelosi, into a car, and then that guy came around the house and not named names. Hammer. Should have took that home with you.
One prominent lawmaker whose finances are consistently under microscope is former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, who's disclosed millions of dollars of profit from trades over the years, many made by her husband, a financier.
What I think irritates a lot of us, isn't it, is the sort of grandstanding, posturing, pretending to be like a nice person. And it's the children. I care about children, all the outrage of January 6th. There was a documentary about Nancy Pelosi, wasn't there? Oh my God, what's going on outside? Ah, they don't know about my trading, do they? For God's sake, delete the app! Delete the app! And like, in reality, you know that they found ways of justifying themselves, like we do, as human beings. Like, they found ways of, it's okay that I work in Congress as Speaker of the House and the fall investor money. As I fall asleep, sometimes I may mutter as I drift off, oh, had a good deal with Tim Cook from Apple today. Night, Paul! Like, they sort of find ways of turning up at banquets and still proselytizing about children's rights or women's rights or some other issue that they just push to the forefront. That's why they have to make everyone else look so guilty and bad and ashamed and worthless. And
fucking covering the
like this,
spots.
You should be like that, and we've really let that down. Should we be considering reparations? Why don't you give reparations to the current existing population of all creeds and colours for the stock trades that you're making and profiting from right now using information that you're clearly getting as a result of your job when you campaign, oh, I'm stroking a pig, I'm kissing a baby, I'm kissing a pig, I'm stroking a baby. The whole thing's a total sham. So carry on doing it. I don't expect us to be outraged. Once in a while people go, I've had enough of this. I'm going in there, give them a piece of my mind. Oh, take some photos of that statue.
In a statement, Pelosi's office told us she does not own any stocks herself and has no prior knowledge or subsequent involvement in any transactions made by her husband. A spokesperson added she was fully supportive of an attempt by Congress in 2022 to address member stock trading, efforts which, despite public pressure, failed.
I was really supportive of it, but somehow it failed. I don't know how it failed. I don't know how Paul's making all these trades. I don't know how all these bills are failing, and mostly I don't know how I sleep at night.
Forward to 2023, and a slate of similar bills are seeing the same resistance.
It has taken longer than we certainly would have liked.
but we're going to continue to push forward.
Sometimes I think the function that these idealistic politicians form is to just keep us sort of vaguely interested. To see both of these guys, no, they're trying. I think, I bet there were probably people that worked at concentration camps that were all right. Like, well, he's trying. You know what I mean? Like, in the end, we have to go, this system is corrupt and exploitative. We cannot participate in it anymore. Please, let's have a radical revision. In fact, we can't even ask them. What is required, I think, is just a transformation in the nature of the relationship, where you just talk to them differently. What? Sorry, you do what? No, thank you.
There are 4 or 5 bills out there with
All right, I'll be right back.
ideas in each one of them. It's got to be brought together.
There are 4 or 5 bills out there, but none of them are going anywhere right now. They're all stuck in various committees.
Right? Welcome to Congress.
Don't try getting in without an invitation, because otherwise I will cry my eyes out. So there you go. It's just acknowledging even these idealists that are trying their best and seem like really decent people, that it's more or less pointless.
But far away from Capitol Hill, if you listen to Unusual Whales or Chris Josephs, no one is quite sure your elected representatives will voluntarily cut themselves off from a payday.
I don't think they'll ban it. I think it's all a smokescreen. I genuinely don't think they'll do it because it doesn't benefit them.
You're saying there's too much money on the table to give it up?
I think so. Which is wild to say, but yeah.
Isn't it ridiculous to think that rather than vote, you would probably be able to impact that more by every one of us, like just investing in the things they are, till the advantage became diluted and dissipated and meaningless. You've got more purchase through financial corruption than you have through just doing what it's supposed to do. It's like that we only know about excess deaths because of insurance company premiums going up. We still can't talk about it openly from a position of medical expertise because that system is fully corrupted. All of these systems are corrupted, and until we take back power, not take back power, we actually already have the power, until we refuse to participate, then I suppose it will continue, because they don't want to do anything about it themselves. Let's get a little bit more information. As Americans sweat over the high cost of food and gas, Representative Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio racked up massive gains in 2023. I'm seriously considering just literally going, invest in what she's in. Like when Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having.
Oh God.
I'll have what she's having.
The former speaker, a consistent high performer in the market, enjoyed a 65% return on her investments. She's a genius. You could almost say, God, you're so good at that. Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just go and invest in the stock market if you're so good at it? Oh, well, actually, because it's not that I'm good at it, because I've got information from being in Congress that I'm utilising for my trade. And actually, you're probably not allowed to say that as an objective fact because it's all been marshalled and concealed by the sort of veil of rhetoric. And Paul Pelosi was doing it in his Porsche. That's better than major hedge funds. Major hedge funds, where their whole raison d'etre and purpose for existence is that she's doing that for a hobby. That's like you're better at basketball than LeBron just by sort of like doing something in your front porch. Oh, look at that. Oh, just accidentally just keep doing this. It's amazing, really. Key to her success was very lucky use of stock options, often a sign of trading on inside information, something members of Congress have lots of. Pelosi and her husband, Paul Pelosi, have made millions off tech companies that she's responsible for regulating. Multiple bills were put forward last year to stop or limit congressional trading, including the bipartisan Ban Stock Trading for Government Officials Act, introduced by Senators Kirsten Gillibrand and Josh Hawley in late July, which went nowhere. No surprise, politicians on both sides of the aisle profit from trading. It's not just insider trading, but insiders blocking any rules that might stop them. That's literally the definition of systemic corruption. You can't change it because it's not a bug, it's a feature, it's a requirement. So on one hand, you have lachrymose newsreaders crying their eyes out about why? Because of the sanctity of the building, because of what it represents. It represents freedom. It represents democracy. It means that any American from anywhere could rise up and become president or speaker of the House, and then you too, if you're rich enough and lucky enough, could make a fortune from insider trading. Is that the system? Is that what we're protecting? Is that what people are being jailed for? Desecrating that system? Is it a system that requires desecration? Is there a system that requires dismantling? Remember, once again, Nancy Pelosi couldn't just go to Wall Street and go, hey, give me a job, I'm brilliant at this, because her power is from exploiting you, the information and power that you have given her, the information that you grant them by that building that should be sacred but isn't. All of our political institutions and the buildings that house them should be sacred. They should represent our shared and collective power and our shared and collective obligations to one another. But they don't represent that. They represent an opportunity for exploitation, and that opportunity is plainly being taken. And one of the ways they prevent us from seeing that is by going, look over over there. What happens between January 7th and January 5th? Nothing as corrupt as what happens the whole year round in those buildings. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the chat? See you in a second. Well done for waking up from the illusion. Well done for awakening into the present moment. Thank you for participating in our show. Thank you in particular for joining us in the stream. Johnny Freedom, Trump bad, Nancy Pelosi insider trading, fine. Booga booga. It's disgusting. Congress may break the law and insider trade while the people get arrested for it and have their lives ruined. Mohawk, the biggest criminals in the world wear suits, man. Digit no hippie. Legalize corruption. The Red, isn't that building paid for by the taxpayers? Joanna Bowman, the Capitol is a public building, isn't it? Yeah, we should be able to stroll in there whenever the hell we like. Dawn News, Girl Idea, Trumpsurrection Day, Kinjan 18, J6 was wake up, everyone. Stay free for 20. That's a good comparison.
All right. Damn. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
They were insurrectionists, they were
It smells like fucking skunk around here.
Best. Hey, if you want to become a Wake and Wonder like Stay Free 420 or do it better from now, then support us and support our work. You can do that annually or
I thought it was someone smoking weed, but it's got to be a skunk.
Like our chat with Greg Gutfield. Also, each week from now, we're going to make a video exclusively for you, like this one about the Golden Globe. For me, a former Hollywood insider turned apostate. How do you say that correctly? You know what I mean? I deny that religion now. I leave it all behind. Have a look.
Ricky. No sound. No sound.
We hear it here.
Drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, when you say you're woke, companies you work for, I mean, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and fuck off, okay?
When the culture is so defined by conflict, by doubt, by despair, by propaganda, by kind of deep suspicion that you cannot trust any of the institutions that we use to automatically...
So is Russell going to get me kicked off?
Doesn't it seem odd to you that this is still even happening? At least during the pandemic, when they did the Oscars in that weird room, there was something eerily correct about it. They were like doing the Oscars in a basement, and it felt like a proper acknowledgement that these kind of events are becoming relegated in significance in the most people. What do you lot think about it? Do you care about it anymore? Or do you think devoid of Ricky Gervais's sarcastic, cynical, on-point criticisms, it seems like something that's entirely hollow? What better way to start 2024 with a very, very popular guest, Greg Gutfield?
Very excited.
Yeah. Thank you. We're back with me now, yeah? Let me know, because...
Oh, is that what you're hearing?
They're deteriorating, those ceremonies. You know, like sort of the one after that crazy Oscars was the Will Smith slap Oscars. It's falling apart. Don't like Ricky Gervais's constant attack on religion. I've had good conversations, or at least one good conversation with Ricky Gervais about religion, though. He definitely has real values, I would say that. And I just find it such a relief to see someone within that system attacking it like that. If you're awake and wonder, is it up right now on Locals? When will it be up? It should be up right now. If it's not, tell me when it will be, so I can pass on that information to our beloved community. Also, let's have a look at the Greg Gutfield chat that we're doing on Friday that you can watch now if you are a Awakened Wonder. Have a look. What better way to start 2024 with a very, very popular guest, Greg Gutfield?
Very excited to be here. I love you, Russell.
I'd like to take this opportunity to unreservedly apologise to you if you don't look like an anus.
I can't even remember why I was cheating on you, even though we've had a checkered past.
We're talking about how media is used to legitimise censorship and control. There's a lot to talk about. Is it true that you suppressed the lab leak theory even though you yourself suspected that it might be true?
Entertainment media will make sure you get punished if you veer off the Kimmel Colbert plantation.
These are sort of death knell cultural moments of like, oh, people can bypass it. Have you noticed that they're trying to turn our world into a global prison, that they're and normalize the penalization of ordinary people? Have you noticed that? Do you know that the lockdown period was a way of experimenting with measures that would not otherwise
I'll grab a
be
coffee
accepted?
at this coffee
On a
shop before I
UK
go to
talk show,
plant
this
them.
is fascinating. They just talked about the normalization of punitive measures. We're going to be doing this in a minute.
Now, I have a lot of sympathy with what they're going to do in Austria, because I cannot understand for the life of me why people believe this rubbish on the internet, the anti-vax propaganda.
This has not aged well. We're going to be analysing this in a minute over on Locals, because we've run out of time over on Rumbles. I want to welcome new members to our Awakened Wonder community, like Real Sniper, Mike86, Sugar Jazz, Ashley Page O, Hamus83. We're going to do another story. What we're going to do?
It is deranged. We know there's figures from the Office of National Statistics.
Lock down the unvaccinated. Look how close they came. They want to create a prison planet governed by a global elite, and that the pandemic period was a practice time. Is that true, or is that a conspiracy theory? We're going to dive right into that now on Locals. Become an Awakened Wonder. Join our community now. We're going to do it. Otherwise, see you tomorrow to talk a little bit more about Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, Fauci, and for the first time streamed on Rumble, our Greg Gutfeld conversation. Join us tomorrow, not for more of the same, but for more of the different. Or come to Locals right now to see us discussing this.
What is it? You're 32,000 times more likely to die if you...
Let's get over there. Stay free, everyone. See you over on Locals. Stay free.
Switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off. Switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off.
All right. Let me get something going here. Fuck. Well, let's just play this for now. 30 minutes. On Paul Liberty Report. I'll be right back. Is it playing or not?
Tuning into the Liberty Report. With us today, we have Daniel McAdams, our co-host. Daniel, good to see you today.
Happy Thursday, Dr. Paul. How are you?
Thursday already.
Yes, it's my Friday. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And they had a big debate last night. Does anybody know about it?
I didn't watch it.
You know, I'll have to talk about family things because Carol and I watched a little bit of it, and she's not into politics unless they're accidentally, you know. But anyway, last night was different. I said I have to go look at the computer. The computer's better than what I'm watching here. So she kept watching it, and you know her superficial conclusion just by glaring at that stuff. She says that woman comes across smart. So I wouldn't endorse if she's the smartest woman in the world, but Carol's interpretation was she came across knowing what she was talking about.
Good
and she didn't have the same thing to say about the opposition.
DeSantis, yeah.
Yeah, and I've often wondered why DeSantis was so high and he goes down, but impressions are pretty important.
Definitely, for sure, yeah.
But I said, sometimes people come across being real smart. It's what they're smart about.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes the difference.
Yeah.
You know, I said, sometimes we worry about somebody in a position of power and they're real smart, and we know a few of them.
Yeah.
They have high IQs, but what good's an IQ if they don't have a standard of morals that you can trust? And that what they say is true, and they don't lie. And that's a job finding.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're trying to sort out some truth here about oil. Oil prices are down. They were over $100 not too long ago. They're down to $70, even dipped below 70. But there's still contest for oil is still very, very important. And as time goes on, it's going to get a lot more important because the Mideast war and the China affairs are going on. And I think there'll be an event that will drive prices of oil, not by the market, but by the foreign policy that we have. But anyway, there was the headline in Zero Hedge says Iran
oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman. Oh, what? They're stealing our oil, you know. Oh, we find out it's the oil that we stole from them, you know. And there's a big issue on us taking oil, and you know, it's one of these things. Is it's part of a big system of sanctions. Just think how long we've had sanctions on Iran. And I often wondered who really gets to use them. Does anybody have an interest on these things? You never hear anything about it. So I asked them to have an audit when we do the Fed audit. And they said, oh no, this is top secret on who really gets to use this money. Anyway, they have had a lot of money and banking sanctions against them. And they resent it. You know, I don't know why they aren't more tolerant. At least they're nice people. So anyway, they reacted this time, and their ship carrying some of that oil and in the Gulf of Oman, and they were able to. I guess in the process, I don't know whether they have it all in the bank yet, but they literally were able to seize the ship because they want to get their oil back. But you know, I imagine because there's very biased reporting in both ways. Sometimes radical left wing and then radical right wing. But the neocons are saying, "Oh, this is an act of war. You know, they're picking on us. We can't be pushed around like that." So there's a lot of people thinking that this is how we are supposed to act. And the basic assumption they're making is we have an empire to defend, and we're good people, and we will always argue for peace and stop these bad wars coming. And they don't quite bear that out. So anyway, this is an issue. Not a lot of talk about it, but in a way, there's some deep concern about what this means. And the Iranians are not going to put up with it. And this is also the reason and motivation. Not only do they want to get their oil back, they also want to make sure these sanctions are removed. And secretly, they're planning on competing with the dollar as a reserve currency. Now that might be a big deal, and there are some who are saying closer and closer. I would say it's getting closer because I expect it to happen, but those who are saying closer and closer, some of them even anticipate more moves will be made because there have been some big trades made, with oil and Russia, and they're determined, but it's understandable. But if you say too much, and we have to be very careful because we don't want to be seen as unpatriotic, because if you take a position that you're trying to point out shortcomings of our own government, that means you're unpatriotic, and you just can't do that. So, but I think that there's no risk if you tell the truth, maybe short term, but long term, telling the truth and trying to seek out the truth. And that's what we'd like to do today, is seek out the truth on what's really going on and how much of it is all our fault.
Well, it's a tinderbox in that region. We know that for a fact. The Houthis in Yemen are defending the Gaza, the Palestinians in Gaza. That's what they claim that they're doing. And they've stopped all shipping going through the Red Sea, essentially. And you can see it on maps. We've had the assassination of several top figures by the Israelis, Hezbollah and Hamas figures. We had an act of terror out of Israel that killed, 200 people. So obviously, there are a lot of tensions in the region. And now when you add this, and if you put on that first clip, you'll see the way that Zero Hedge frames it. And I think this is the way that the mainstream media is going to frame it. Iran hijacks oil tanker in Gulf of Oman. Now they sound like pirates. They hijacked an oil tanker. It sounds like out of the blue. I'm not criticizing Zero Hedge here. They're actually done us a favor by previewing how it will come out in the mainstream media. But Iranian naval forces, acting under a court order, seized Marshall Islands flag tanker St. Nicholas, Bloomberg reports, citing Iran's semi-official Tasnim agency. The report said St. Nicholas is a U.S. oil tanker. So Iran, in the midst of all of these tensions increasing, they go out and steal and seize a tanker. Now here's from the same article. This if we go to the next one, the tankertractor.com, with more background. The tanker which the Iranians have boarded today in the Gulf of Oman is the St. Nicholas, carrying Iraqi oil. It's interesting, Dr. Paul. Formerly known as the Suez Rajan, she was seized by the U.S. government for having transported 1 million barrels of Iranian oil in connection to a U.S. company. So, initially, this ship was seized by the U.S. government because it had Iranian oil. And we told the Iranians they're not allowed to sell their oil. And this is an example of the international rules-based order. We make the rules, you take the orders. And it didn't work this way because the Iranians, there's this expectation that they're just going to forget that we stole 1 billion barrels of their oil. Well, they don't. Countries don't forget these slides. But nevertheless, a lot about narratives. And this is a narrative, and this is going to be how it sells. They stole a U.S. ship. And already we're seeing the neocons. Put the next one up. The neocons are braying for war over this. Iran knows it can attack ships and now sees them because the Ayatollahs know Joe Biden is too weak to respond. In other words, why haven't we attacked them yet? That's why they're seizing our ships. We haven't declared war. So that's how the neocons are going to frame this.
All right, guys. Thanks for riding with me. Be on later, probably. I don't know if I'm going to go live from the desktop. I got a lot of shit to do today. Peace.
Saying that if you don't go along with the scenario that